If you ever wanted to try a little harder or take your competitiveness up a notch, stick around to learn these rules to guide you. The art of war, used in every walk of life. Business, sports, academics, actual warfare, everything. Make no mistake, this game, first and foremost, is competitive by nature. Now let's see how we can navigate through our competition with the art of war. Chapter 1. Laying plans. The art of war is of vital importance to the state. These basic guidelines are applicable and relevant for the state of competition. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to just keep it real for a sec, and not everybody might not want to hear this. But unfortunately, the reality is there are winners and there are losers. And nobody wants to be a loser, obviously. And everybody says they want to win. But some people, you can see through their individual expression, through their play, and how much effort, you can see how bad they want to win.
This game for a very competitive player at heart. You have to want to win, you have to want to master it, you have to want to get better, and if that is not you, this might not resonate, and that's okay. I think we're actually pretty comfortable with that, like this game not being for everybody.
Everybody says they want to win, and of course everybody does want to win, but they don't play like it. They don't act like it, they don't put in the extra time and effort or work, nor do they exercise that extra bit of discipline, if any. But you and I, we are neither losers or winners. We are competitors. You win some and you lose some. More than that, we need to remember that we have to strive to keep learning and growing, and remember that we are students of the game, no matter how good or bad you are. And you can say these words are unimportant and let it go in one ear and out the other. But remember, in this life, nothing really matters. It only matters how much you make it matter. Number 2, it is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it's a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. Now, it's not literally life or death for us, or maybe it is in between each round, you can think of it that way. Once you're dead, you're out of the round. And we can see this as the roadmap for the road to victory or defeat. Now, no account can be neglected. Everybody's ideas have to be chipped in, and it's a team effort, collective effort. Even with structure or hierarchy, you have your IGL and you have your bottom fragger, whatever. Everybody needs input and impact in order to be successful. Withholding information, no matter how small or insignificant you may think it is, even for a split second, delaying it can lead to someone dying. So in that sense, I guess it is a matter of life and death. And if you want to win, like you say you do, naturally you gotta go for every advantage, no matter how small it may seem. Number 3, the art of war is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's deliberations. These are the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline. Now, the moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with their ruler so that they will follow him regardless of their lives, undismayed by any danger. Now, to uphold this moral law is crucial, and it's basically talking about like team morale, and us as individuals, as competitors, our attitude and our mindset, our mental fortitude. As long as the game is active, it needs to be strong, especially in the face of adversity, those hard times, those troubling moments. These are the moments everybody needs to be a good teammate the most, the trying times. That's when a person's true character bleeds out. And you got to set the tone for each round, each game. And that means, for example, if your team is in high spirits, you and your team, you're going to play better. Everything's going to feel easier. You're going to have a better time. And it makes it easy for everyone to feel good and communicate and play together. And it makes it more likely for everyone to buy into the idea of playing as a team. And it can also make tough losses easier to manage. Because at the end of the day, if you played well and did your best and your teammates did the same for you, what more could you really ask for? You had a good game. If you lost, on to the next one. It makes it easier to stomach and easier to move on so you don't get too hung up on your last result. Number 4, heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. Now, this is talking about like external factors outside of human control, like weather, the time, etc. And these kinds of conditions, most of our conditions is going to be pretty static. It's not going to change unless you're traveling around the world, going to lands. What we can take away from this is that, things that are out of our control, we just deal with it, we just live with it, as everyone else does. But the things we can control, we need to take care of our physical and mental well-being. If not for our health's sake, then for our performance's sake. But obviously health is more important as a baseline because you can't play if you're dead. Number 5. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. Now this is speaking to having general map knowledge, different maps that we're gonna play. You have to be comfortable on all of them. You gotta know at least the very basics just to be able to perform on them at a decent level, all maps, regardless of if we like it or hate the map. So what we should know are like the common plant spots, common planting spots, what are the common hotspots and paths that the enemies like to take. And this can differ from game to game, of course, or round to round. What is covered by our team? And on the flip side, what's not covered? Dark spots on the map, stuff that is left open. We have to be aware of that. And if you can, take your map knowledge up a notch. You gotta know every nook and cranny, because you never know where you might end up fighting. And also so you don't have to like look at the ground or the corner when you're navigating around, because I'm sure everybody's had a moment where you've bumped into like a little rock or a chair or something that got you stuck and killed. And also recognize that some maps, there's gonna be agents that are somewhat required. These can be like a Viper on Breeze or Icebox. Also on the same maps, best initiator, probably Sova. At least if you're gonna have only one, should be a Sova. Things like on Split or Bind, the best duelist would be Raze, even though a lot of people like to pick other ones, but most of the time it's not required, but it's like the best fit for those maps. So next time you're filling out a team composition, just recognize what you kind of need depending on the map and then fill accordingly, or at the very least just recognize you're in for a difficult time if you opt to not go the meta route, which is fine, but just know that it's harder and that your team may not be too happy with those choices. Number 6. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness.
Can you go super aggro gecko and try to just run at them there, and I'm gonna throw my decay and I'll come right with you.
Every game usually turns into like someone taking up the mantle of being the shot caller or leader or IGL, even if subconsciously, or else the entire team is gonna run around kind of lost, no talking between each other. Everybody's doing their own thing. We've all been there. And being a good leader, being the best teammate we can be, it's gonna open up more opportunities and more likely for our team to be cooperative, and more likely that people are gonna want to listen to you or want to follow you. Lead by example. We don't have to be overtly nice, just take care of business, don't mess around, and teammates are likely to follow suit. And we're talking about pugs. This is not in a structured environment, but it still applies. Because let's be honest, who are you more likely to follow? Somebody that's like top fragging, getting everybody involved, communicating, being a Giga Chad, carrying his team, or somebody who's he's top fragging but he's not carrying and all he's doing is whining and bitching. I know what kind of person I'm standing behind. By method and discipline are to be understood the marshalling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of military expenditure. Simply put, method and discipline is required in all aspects of your game, during the game, after the game, and even before the game, if you want to take it as serious as that. When it comes to discipline in-game, it's especially all about the little things like reducing the number of times or situations where we go, oh, I shouldn't have peaked there, or managing our money smartly, not force buying, buying with the team, saving, stuff like that. All those little things add up, and it goes a long way if you're doing the right things to help you win. How you train and how you practice, if you do those things at all, it's going to reflect in your efforts and in your results. And the way you practice should be the way you play. Just because you're practicing, it doesn't mean you should goof around, mess around, take it less serious, go easy on yourself. Practice needs to be intense and it should be hard. And that way, the real games, when it comes time for the real thing, they're gonna seem easy. We hear of talks about professional sports teams, actual sports, not esports, about how they practice intensely by their coaches. They put them through the ringer, make them run laps, whatever. And by the time they play actual games, their conditioning is so ready, they just blow past the other team. And you can clearly see a difference in team work ethics. Now, keep in mind, this is all on you as an individual. You take it as serious as you want to. Because again, this is a competitive game. We're supposed to try hard. We're supposed to win. So I'll never really understand that insult. People calling you, oh my god, you're such a tryhard. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Are you trying to lose? Like, of course I'm a tryhard. Like, what do you expect, right? So yeah, don't pay any mind to those kind of talkers. It's all on you. Take it as serious as you want it and try as hard as you want to. Just understand that if you're not trying hard and your teammates are, there's gonna be some friction there, because the feeling that they're probably getting, this is from my own experience, it feels like, you know, you guys are 5 co-workers and, you know, everyone's doing their job, everybody's doing their role, but if somebody's slacking off and you guys come up short, obviously, you know, attention is going to be drawn to the weak link. Number 8. These 5 heads should be familiar to every general. He who knows them well will be victorious. He who knows them not will fail. So with these basic guidelines, straight up, we should be well on our way to victory or success. Now, results may not come instantly, and you just got to remember that our progress, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're going to get better over time. We're going to practice better, which will yield better results, which will result in us being a better player, which will result in us influencing our teammates to strive for that same greatness, I guess, or bettering themselves for your fellow teammate. That's what we want to strive to be. Now, competition is fierce. The harsh reality is, once again, there's winners and there are losers. Now, it doesn't matter what we fall into, but all we can really do is just try to be the best that we can be and improve on that. We got to be clever when it comes to strategies or fights or getting reads on our enemy, and we got to stand out amongst our peers, because again, this is competition, and I feel that it's all mindset. It all starts within our mind. We got to set a good foundation for growth, for learning, and for improving. Number 9. According as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. Do not blindly follow advice, including my own. Really listen to it and see if it makes sense to you, or try to apply it and see if it gets you results. Whenever you're learning something or trying to understand something in this game, above anything else, try to understand the why rather than that specific instance. This way you can apply it for the future for yourself and recognize it in game whenever you see it in your own experiences. Another layer, don't blindly follow strategies that are called like pre-round, and don't call something blindly pre-round if you can help it. Take that round time and think about the situation, think what just happened last round, etc. What does our team look like? What does their team look like? Speaking on money, utility, ultimates, composition, and come up with somewhat of a plan with the team, because most of the time it's going to be better than nothing. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Now, if someone on your team or you has a read, making a specific strat will be better than a default. And seeing your right call come to life, come to fruition, and winning, that's a great feeling.
One enemy remaining.
Number 10. All warfare is based on deception. Now, this point is too true. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Info is everything in this game. It directly impacts and influences how you aim, how you navigate the map, how you move around, and how you play the game, essentially. Now, in each round, basically, we fight for info and map control, or until you get like a hard read on what the enemy is doing, and adjust your plans accordingly. For example, after rushing A and B about 5 times, the game starts to devolve into fakes. Fake rushes, fake fakes, sitting in silence and then exploding based off a contact or whatever, etc. There are lots of ways to fake out the enemy using information. Down to an individual level, we can fake them out with our movements as well, using strafes, counter strafes, jiggling, jump spotting, baiting for our teammates, either with our body or utility. Now there's levels to this stuff. For example, you make somebody hear that you're droning or dogging. Now, their first instinct, level 1, is to hide. That's their natural reaction. Now the next level maybe is, I can dash at this guy droning or dogging, kill him easy, right? So they try to kill you, but you thought of that, so you have a teammate that protects you while you do it. Now this becomes so commonplace that the third level of thinking, beyond that aggression, third level of thinking is next time you know that's probably likely to happen, so the best option is to once again just hide. We've come back full circle. So what do we take away from this? Don't drone alone unless you are faking for that purpose of trying to make it seem like it's a commitment with your team, or to make it look like you have more than one teammate behind you, or that you're not alone basically. If the enemy team assumes you have teammates behind the drone, the rest of them might over-rotate. Number 11. When able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, We must make them believe we are near. Now, this is all about map control, and again, using information to fake them out and stuff like that. But fakes are only good if the info is denied 100%. Okay? So for example, let's say on a ascent, we kill the alarm bot mid, it's gonna pull rotates and pull their attention towards middle, and then we can hard hit a lane after that, either through market or cat, or just through B main or A main, whatever's. And we cause them to mix themselves up, trip themselves up over their rotations, trying to fill up these gaps, plug these holes in their defense, and we exploit the opposite end. This is very common practice, probably across all ranks, and even at the pro level. For example, if we're defaulting Viper's wall, it makes the enemy team never know where the real hit is gonna be. For example, with Viper's wall on bind, she's gonna always throw it up short A, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna end A. Sometimes the Viper's not even there, or sometimes the whole team is behind the wall. You never know, and that's the point. Or it forces the enemy to like be proactive, because if they play back and they're trying to be too reactive, gives the enemy too much space, too much freedom, while you're sitting in the dark behind the Viper wall, respecting it too much. Number 12, hold out baits to entice the enemy, feign disorder, and crush them. Now this part is all about baiting, right? Which is still related to info. It's all about baiting by abusing their lack of hard info into a rushed decision. And this is where we catch them lacking. If we're stacked in a site, don't let them know all 5 of us are hiding. Wait until they're committed before we show any presence. If a site is empty, whoever can throw some util to slow them down, it'll give the appearance of heavy resistance at that site, even if they are far away, or if no one's there at all. It's gonna give that illusion. Now this can work in areas of the map as well, not just A main and B main, but you can do it in like middle crossings or somewhere on cat or market, etc. You can do both at the same time. You could fake aggression at one lane, force them the other, and you guys will be stacked at that other site. This is what we refer to as trap plays. We fake aggression one way, they're gonna assume it's stacked, they go to the other one, and that's where everybody's already waiting for them. We bait them, entice them, and trap them. Crush them. Number 13. If he is secure at all points, be prepared for him. If he is in superior strength, evade him. In your team's weak areas of the map, deception is going to be needed to buy time for the rotates, or you feign presence or strength to try to dissuade them from pushing that site. Again, going back to the example I provided in the last point, if you're weak, show a lot of presence, and that's going to make them think twice before they fully commit and rush in. Whether it stops their rush entirely or stalls them enough to buy time for the rotates to come in. Now on the flip side, if you're an attacker and the enemy team seems to be pretty bunkered down in the site and you guys are smoked off at the choke, don't feel compelled to like force the issue, unless you guys are out of time or something, obviously. But don't be afraid to stop, take a second, reset, get some map control, make them think you guys are elsewhere before you re-hit, stuff like that. Don't force the issue if you know it's going to end bad. And try to back off from unfavorable or random like 50-50 heads up fights when possible, and try to take more favorable ones. Try to be in control of your fate, you know what I mean? If they're all facing you down mid, don't swing into them. Stuff like that. Very simple stuff that we can fix on individual level that'll help out everybody on the team. Don't chase highlights, don't chase clutches, don't chase aces. Your moment will come, I promise you. Try not to force it sometimes. And when it does come, don't get scared, don't hesitate, and just go for it. And live with the results and grow upon it and improve upon it, so for the next time you'll be more ready for it and you'll execute it even better. Number 14 and 15. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest. If his forces are united, separate them. Attack him where he is unprepared. Appear where you are not expected. So if you catch your enemy lacking, force the issue or force the play and punish mistakes when you recognize it. People usually get stuffed, like their rush gets stuffed, and then they don't cut noise, they don't re-clear any other part of the map, and then they just try to re-hit and force through that initial choke point, and they just get mowed down. Using info denial with fake utility or smokes, it can manipulate the enemy to rotate where you want them to, and based off of that, you can navigate around the map, right? So use mix-ups after running the same strats a few times. If something's working, keep doing it. Keep doing it until they stop the play, force you to change it up, and try to do your best to convince the enemy of one thing, but then you do another. Condition your enemy, that way you get in their head, you know what they're thinking, and then you trick them based off of those assumptions. Number 16. These military devices leading to victory must not be divulged beforehand. Now, obviously, we're not gonna tell the enemy our strats, right? Unless you want to mind game them or something. But giving up the strat can be as simple as, you know, making a footstep, making noise or presence shown. It can ruin a whole round start, and it makes it hard to claw back into the round since we'll be out of position. If we all committed to like trying to rush something, but we were found out early, it's gonna stop the round in its tracks, and it happens a lot. Rushing blindly and then getting stopped, it pretty much shows our hand, shows our intent, and we can get surrounded quickly if we don't act fast, right? So try to keep the enemy in the dark, don't give them anything for free, and recognize that info in this game is everything. Number 17. Now, the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple before the battle is fought. The general who loses a battle makes but few calculations beforehand. Thus, do many calculations lead to victory and few to defeat. In the heat of the moment, all strats and plans can go out the window, right?
No matter how well you prepare, you always know something's going to be a hiccup.
But we still have to train ourselves to stay focused in the moment. Even if plans go wrong, it'll give you a base guideline to the start of the round, and then you're gonna just have to adjust on the fly based off of what's happening in front of you in the present. So plan with a team pre-round, because it's always gonna be better than wandering aimlessly like everybody does usually, you know. Even at the highest levels of ranked, even in pro play sometimes, there's gonna be rounds where people are just kind of off doing their own thing and they just get picked off one by one. Try to have a plan with your team before the round starts. It can be as simple as calling out what you're gonna do as your role, and others are just gonna follow suit, and things just kind of roll into place. So again, let's say on Ascent, for example, let's say we start out tiles, have a guy A main or top mid. If I'm Sova, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm a dart bottom mid. Can we get a smoke either mid or cat? And then we're gonna either pressure market or cat, and then go from there. Or, you know, like the smoker might do that without even asking, or he'll be involved and say, where do you want the smoke, etc. And then the duelist will say, I want it here or there. And everybody starts to get involved like this. People start buying in. So comms are good, plans are good. People who are clever and think faster will be rewarded, because again, once again, this is competition. We got to stand out amongst our peers and make our claim, our impact undeniable. And the more you see these guidelines and the more you go over them, the more you're going to start to recognize that it could be applied to a number of scenarios in and out of the game. Stuff that's not even related to Valorant that's going to help us. So instead of simply learning the game, if any of this stuff is new to you, hopefully it helped you reframe the way you think, so that moving forward, it'll be easier to grow and improve as an individual overall. So I hope these guidelines helped you to think about stuff in a new way and helped you to adopt the best mindset possible.
Last player.
120, 120.
Remaining.
Nice guy.